Well, new on AM Extra, a court case that changed the course of the civil rights movement in this country. It's now the focus of a new book. Alabama v. King tells the story of the forgotten criminal trial that put the young Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. on the front page of newspapers across the country and really led to him becoming the leader of the civil rights movement. Well, Dan Abrams, the host of Dan Abrams Live on News Nation, tells this story with author David Fisher and attorney Fred Gray. He joins us this morning to talk about it. Dan, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Good to have you here. I've been reading this book over the weekend. It is such a fascinating story. I think to get into it first, we need to talk about a myth that has kind of become part of the conversation over civil rights in this country. You know, everyone has heard the story of the bus boycott and that it started with Rosa Parks and just on a whim she decided that she wasn't going to give up her seat when in fact, you know, that's really not how it happened. And this book not only dispels that myth, but it really kind of explains how this was a catalyst for so much change. So let's first kind of talk about that great American myth and what you set the record straight with here.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rosa Parks was an activist who was prepared to be arrested. The question was not if, but when. And Fred Gray, my co-author, now 91, was Rosa Parks' attorney. And he was the one who was having lunch with her every day, almost, leading up to this, where they would talk about what she would do, how she would do it, etc. Now, I'll say it is true that on the day that she was arrested was not the day she had planned to do it, but she was definitely prepared for it, and she was prepared for the ramifications of it. But I don't think anyone in Montgomery expected that it would lead to the boycott. And what I mean by that is not just the fact that people boycotted, but the success of it. The fact that 40,000 people stayed off the buses, which took them to work and back every day, and said, we're just not going to do it anymore. And this trial came out of that event when the white establishment in Montgomery at the time couldn't force African Americans to get back on the buses. They decided to try to use the law to say there is this anti-boycott statute out there, and we're going to now charge you for organizing a boycott in violation of this statute. And the reason it became so important is A, it brought Martin Luther King Jr. to the national stage for the first time, and B, it exposed the rest of the country to the indignities that people of color in Montgomery, Alabama were enduring on a literally daily basis.
Yeah, so you talk about in this book, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. was one of many arrested. There were mass arrests in this boycott here, and he was the first case to go to trial, and that was such a tipping point. How critical was this case, not only for the civil rights movement nationwide, but for MLK's career then as a civil rights activist going forward?
Yeah, and I think that's why this case was so important. Meaning, I think part of the reason this case has been lost to history is it wasn't that important legally, right? It was some random anti-boycott statute that was being pulled out to try to punish Martin Luther King and other people in Montgomery. But the impact of this, the impact of indicting these 89 people, the impact of bringing Martin Luther King to trial, the way it not just galvanized the community in Montgomery, but when the national media then arrived, yes, they'd been covering a bit the Montgomery boycott, but it was still a local story. This trial and some of the accounts from the witnesses who testified, not just Martin Luther King testifying in this case, which is fascinating in and of itself, but also the everyday citizens in Montgomery, one after another, talking about what they had to endure on those buses, I think is part of the reason the rest of the country decided to pay attention. As a legal matter, they were saying these witnesses are relevant to show that we had just cause for the boycott, which is an exception you can use in the law. But as a practical matter, it was much more important than it was on the legal front.
Well, and talk about having an account of history. I mean, to be able to work on this book with Fred Gray, for you and David to have his firsthand account of these events in his words, how was that for you, getting to tell this story with him?
Well, obviously, it was an honor, right? I mean, getting to work with a guy like Fred Gray is humbling and an honor. But it was also such an amazing experience on a sort of personal level, because David Fisher and I have written 4 other books on forgotten trials in history. This is our 5th. This is the only one where we had the guy, the person who was, really the leading figure in our story. Fred Gray was the person who put together this team on behalf of Martin Luther King. He was 24 and then 25 years old by the time the case went to trial. He was just out of law school. Martin Luther King Jr. was 27. They were contemporaries at the time. And so Fred Gray has to go and find much more experienced lawyers to work with him on this case. And he goes and talks to Thurgood Marshall at the NAACP. They send a representative. He talks to his mentor, Arthur Shores, who ends up serving on the case. So being able to talk to Fred Gray about this case was incredibly valuable for the book. But I have to say it was also a wake-up call for me, because I didn't know much about Fred Gray before we started working on this book, and I am convinced that Fred Gray is likely the most unappreciated civil rights hero in America at this point. Yes, he's become the president of the Alabama State Bar Association. Yes, he recently had a street named after him in his hometown, which is amazing. But this is a man who deserves to be on the national scale in a huge way.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the things, these moments in history that are outlined in this story and in his story, and it's a wake-up call. It makes you realize there's so much more that a lot of us need to learn, and that we need to make sure it does not fade into history. So I'm so glad you guys were able to take this forgotten trial and really shine a new light on it. It is a fantastic read. I can't recommend it enough. Dan Abrams, host of Dan Abrams Live on News Nation, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And of course, you can find Alabama v. King. It is out now. Get it wherever books are sold.